Professor Robert Reich is on the line with us, former U.S. Labor Secretary, Chancellor, Professor of Public Policy at UC Berkeley, prolific author of 13 books, including his latest, Aftershock, The Next Economy and America's Future, and, Aftershock, The Next Economy and America's Future, The Work of Nations, and the new e-book, Beyond Outrage. You can read all about it at Robert Reich, REICH.org, his website. And Secretary Reich, welcome back to the program, or Professor
Hello,
Reich.
Tom.
Great to have you with us. You wrote a piece and asked a question, and it's a question that I very often get into fights with libertarians about. What is an economy for? I would love to hear you riff on this.
Well, an economy is for the people who comprise the economy. It's not for the stock market. Although the stock market is sometimes taken as a measure of the economy's strength, it's not the stock market. It's not Wall Street. The economy is not corporations. It's not the income of corporations. The economy is the well-being of average working people in that society, and also the extent to which the earnings and the benefits and the growth of the economy are widely distributed to as many people as possible. To participate in the growth and the productivity improvements of that economy. In other words, an economy is people. It is not corporations.
Yeah, and we the people give corporations certain privileges in exchange for operating within our economy. In the used to be the demand, I guess now it's the hope that they will return some social good to us.
Well, yes. I mean, a democracy is supposed to represent the people, and the people, through a democracy, are supposed to set the rules of the game through which corporations and other actors in the economy play, so as to make sure that the results of all of their actions redound to the benefit of the people. In other words, you can't separate politics from economics to the extent that politics really does reflect us and reflect our needs. And that's essentially the problem today, because so much income and wealth are now at the top. Big corporations and Wall Street have so much political power to influence our democracy that average people and their voices are being completely overridden.
Yeah, and yet when I ask people like Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal's editorial page, or Yaron Brook, the president of the Ayn Rand Society, which is more important, democracy or capitalism, they invariably say capitalism.
Well, you cannot have one without the other. That is, I think that conservatives are probably correct. If you have a society that is organized totally around government and run by government, and where government owns all of the economy, then everybody is going to be so dependent on government that there is no real opportunity for independence that you need for freedom. So, yes.
Didn't work out well for East Berlin or the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they've got that right. But what they don't understand is you cannot have capitalism without democracy. I mean, who is going to set the rules of the game? Who's going to define what it is that means private property? And unless you have a democracy that is active and vital and independent, there's no way that capitalism is going to function within bounds. It's going to move toward excess. It's going to create huge booms followed by great busts. It's going to lead to depressions and recessions and have all sorts of negative consequences, such as pollution and unsafe products and unsafe jobs, because nobody knows better. There is no guiding principle. There is no constraint.
Right now, there are more people in the United States working for and owning a piece of worker-owned co-ops than there are people who are members of unions. And the United Steelworkers Union has jumped into this with both feet. They've got a couple of factories that they're in the process of converting to worker-owned union member cooperatives. And SEIU, I guess, is working on a hospital, I think it is, out on the West Coast. Do you see that as an alternative to capitalism that is, strong and viable here in the United States?
Well, I would say, I don't want to mince words, Tom. I think that's a form of capitalism in which workers
control the capital,
own individual companies, but the companies are still competitive with one another. It's still important to show a profit because you have to have a profit in order to plow back the investment. That's capitalism. It just happens to be worker-owned capitalism, and that's a form that may have a very, very bright future if we can get around one handicap, one problem, and that is that if the company goes down, then workers in that company have all their eggs in that one basket, and they end up worse off than they would be otherwise. So if we can kind of spread the risk a little bit, insure those companies against losses, then I think that those workers would be in much, much better shape. I think worker-owned cooperatives really are a wave of the future.
Yeah. What do you see as the biggest issue facing the United States right now, economically and politically?
I think it's inequality. Inequality that has got so outrageously lopsided that the top 1% is taking home more money and wealth than it's taken home at any point in the last 80 years. But that means, you see, political power, and that political power is enough to reduce their taxes and to shred safety nets and to get rid of a lot of things that most everybody else needs, like Medicare and Social Security, good education, an infrastructure that is working for everyone, and at the same time gives them the political power to make people believe through the repetition of big lies on the broadcast networks they own or they sponsor, that people's enemies are other working people just like themselves, unionized workers or government workers or workers who are near or at the minimum wage or immigrants. You see, the oldest trick in the book is making people feel that their enemies are the people just like them and taking their eyes away and distracting their attention from the big story, the big issue, which is that all of the wealth and all of the income, or nearly all of it, from growth, from productivity improvements, have been going to the top 1%, and a big portion to the top 1/10 of 1%. So, Tom, that's the essential economic and political problem we are trying to cope with. We need to cope with. I don't think we're trying to cope with it. I think we have to cope with it.
And in the half a minute we have left, Professor Reich, what should we be doing?
Well, in a half a minute, it's going to be hard to say.
Okay.
I think there's no magic bullet. We've got to enlarge the earned income tax credit, which is a tax kind of a worker subsidy. We've got to raise taxes on the wealthy. We've got to resurrect the Glass-Steagall Act and break up the big banks. We've got to make sure that it's easier to form unions and stop companies from their anti-union busting kind of rampage they're on. We've got to make sure that it's not easy to outsource abroad, and there are no tax breaks that encourage companies to outsource abroad. I could go on. We don't have the time. There's no magic bullet, but above all, we've got to get money out of politics, big money, and we've got to organize and mobilize and energize average working people, poor people, the old working class, to take back our economy and to reclaim our democracy.
So well said. You can read all about it at robertreich.org. Professor Reich, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Tom.
Great talking with you again.